Assuming you finished the alphabet videos, I have 3 of them, but it doesn't matter which alphabet video you choose, whether it's some other YouTubers, whatever. For one way or another, you are ready for sounding out actual small words, I assume. Now, I have selected these words because they're not subject to that one crazy sound change rule where, like, all of a sudden the shield makes a T sound. A lot of beginners kind of freak out about that. Hey, don't worry. That's not this video. That's going to be another time. These words, you don't have to worry about that. You can just sound them out blissfully, one letter at a time. Don't worry about it. Another thing I want to talk about is Hanja. You're probably going to see people be like, you don't need to know Hanja. You don't really. You'll be told this by even native speakers. And here's the thing, they themselves don't take into account or just really take for granted how frequently they do encounter Hanja in their day-to-day lives. It's similar to in English. So east of town, 31st and Garnett-ish. This is East Tulsa. Now, if you're an ESL student just studying English, the bus drops you off there, you're looking around and you're trying to read that Omega. Unless you already understand the Greek alphabet, you're going to struggle. They even went the extra mile as to replace the O with the Omega symbol. It can get tricky. Omega, Delta, Pi, the copyright symbol, Japanese yin, Sagittarius. I'm not a Sagittarius, but I dated one, and I just don't know. I just don't know about those folk. So there's a lot of symbols that we are familiar with in the English language that are neither letters of the English alphabet nor are they Arabic numerals. We're used to seeing them, we know what they mean, they pop up, and hey, they're part of our lives. There's a similar thing with Hanja when it comes to the Korean language. You're going to find it in a lot of signage. You're going to find it in a lot of ads, that kind of thing. And it could mean the difference between finding where you need to go and getting lost. Korean is made up of 60% of words that used to be Chinese. In fact, sometimes the pronunciation itself carries over a little bit. And not only is it kind of handy to know what these symbols look like, you really don't have to study all of these, don't worry. But it is handy to know, not just for like signage and stuff, but they're going to be very helpful when learning new vocabulary and remembering new vocabulary. In English, we got prefixes and suffixes that kind of give us hints as to what this new vocabulary word means. We can kind of use Hanja to serve us the same way. Let's get cracking. This first word right here, pal. Pal. Can you guess what pal means? Arms. It also just so happens to mean the number 8. And this is the Hanja for the number. This is the Hanja for the body part. They're both pronounced as pal. And in Mandarin, 8 would be ba, I think. Ba? It's been a minute. Good thing this isn't a Mandarin video. Alright, so we have pal, meaning arms. Next we have dari. Dari means legs. And this is the Hanja that means legs, right over here. Now, it's worth mentioning Korean It's different from Japanese in that you're not going to constantly see the Chinese characters pop up over and over and over again. In Japanese, they have, hiragana, katakana, and then they have the kanji. And all three of them, you're going to see it all in the same text, the same sentence, even. In Korean, at least throughout the 20th century, they stopped really doing that. Once in a while, you'll see the original Hanja. For the most part, though, in modern Korean, it's going to be sounded out in Hangul. It's going to be spelled out in Hangul. So you don't have to worry about it too much, but it's really handy to know. Mori. Mori, meaning head, your noggin. Mori. All right, and of course, right next to it, we got the Hanja. Next, we got Sun. Sun, hands. Right here, Sun, it's kind of its own radical. That's pretty cool. It's kind of its own thing, the hand. Bal. Bal are feet. Feet. And one thing I've noticed, when it comes to the Hanja, this radical right here, this little snake-looking thing, also you kind of see a version of it up here. It's often like pertaining to travel, and like you're on your feet, you're traveling, that kind of thing. I don't know, it helps me remember. It helps me remember. It might help you remember too. It's worth a shot. Okay. Let's take a look at this next word. Okay, now we have 3 syllables. Things are getting serious. Ooh. We have sonkorak. Now, already knowing what sun means, can you figure out the rest? Sonkorak. Sonkorak. Sonkorak means fingers. So we've got fingers with sonkorak. Now, with gorak, we see it again down here. Balgorak. Well, what could that possibly mean? If bal means feet, then balgorak gotta mean toes, right? So one might assume gorak must mean some sort of extension of some kind. Not a bad guess. And after all, this Hanja right here, that itself on its own can mean fingers, because we got the more reduced radical for hand right here. It can mean fingers, but it could also sort of mean like an extension of some kind. Some sort of attachment, some kind of branching out, what have you. So, just for fun, what if I were to take gorak? Not sungorak, not badgorak, just gorak. And I were to stick it on the end of this word right here. Remember mori? What does mori mean? Head. Very good. So if I were to say morigorak, what would that mean? Morigorak. Yeah, hair. Hair. Morigorak means hair. Also, even native speakers, as a shorthand, they are just going to say mori to also mean hair. And of course, if they do need to be more clear, they will say morigorak, specifically to mean hair. But through context, you will usually assume whether they mean head or hair. because you're never going to make an appointment to get your head cut off, right? Morigorak means hair. Mori can also mean hair. Okay. Next we got be. Be. Be means belly. It just so happens to also mean ship, and it also means pair. It's not common, but once in a while, some people will throw in the original Hanja just to make it more clear. That's why I think it's kind of worth. No, you don't have to commit these to memory, of course, but just to visually recognize the differences here, that could prove handy down the road. So, be means stomach, means ship, means pair, and of course, the Korean word, it's all pronounced the same way, be. Be. So, already knowing what be means, how about beko? Beko. What does beko mean? You got it. Think of the Pillsbury Doughboy. Belly button. Now, I can't quite remember the Hanja for go. I had a book of Hanja. Like, it's somewhere around here. I should probably find it at some point. But I've forgotten what it is. But if I haven't encountered it often enough to remind me what it means, I guess it's not that big of a deal. We'll let one slide, huh? Mok. Mok means throat. Mok. Very good. And here's the radical. Well, not just the radical. Here's the Hanja for mok. Next we got ip. So ip means mouth. And then we have ipsul. Ipsul. We already know what ip means. Ipsul. Perhaps it's mouth related. I don't know. Is it? Ipsul. What do you think ipsul means? Lips. Ipsul. So if you want to remember it as alcohol touching your lips, not that I frequently do this, it's just an example that pops up in my head. For whatever reason, don't judge me. Ipsul. Next we have age. Age. Shoulders. Age. And the Hanja right next to it. So, murup. Murup. Knee. Murup. And check that out. It begins with the same radical as belly. Be. Interesting. That moon radical. All right. Then we have gui. Gui. Ears. Gui. Ears. Here's the radical for ears. Now, I forgot to include it, but also nun means eyes. It also happens to mean snow. So if a Korean challenges you to either a snowball fight or a staring contest, you're going to have to ask them to be more specific. We also have ko. Ko means nose. I forgot to put that too. Ko means nose. Hyo means tongue. Hyo. I'm trying to think of what other body parts might be useful to know. That might be it. Tok is chin. Bul, cheek. So, we've went through the body parts, and maybe if you find yourself in a pharmacy or something and you're going to flip the package over and read through it, perhaps some of these might pop up. And you'll figure out, oh, this medicine is for this body part. This medicine is for this body part. It might be helpful to know. All right. Now in the next video, we are going to talk about the days of the week, and later on we'll get to the planets.